Today's episode is a little bit different. I had posted a question out to my community asking them to ask me questions this time. So we received a bunch of questions in my inbox, and today I attempt to answer all of them. In fact, I haven't seen them before today, so the team put them together, and so the answers are completely spontaneous. I hope it's insightful. Everyone is responsible and everyone is accountable for whatever it is they do. That doesn't change. It doesn't mean, though, we need to hold an iron glove. You can understand that people are going through different challenges. People go through things every single day. So just taking a moment to try and understand or even ask questions, check if they are going through something so that you can, be a bit sympathetic, but let everyone know at the end of the day that we are all to be held account. And you can do it best by being accountable yourself. There's nothing like not walking the walk if you want people to be able to come on board and understand that they're also accountable for their own actions. I'd say every decision I consider bold, or the boldest amongst them, are always to do with people, because people are the greatest resource that we have. So some of the bold ones include, knowing when I've had to let some people go, knowing also who is talented in the team and really helping them and pushing them along so that they can really continue to add value and add even more value to the organization, but also to themselves. They're all centered around people. But yes, the most difficult are those that are to do with letting people go, especially when you like the people. I've had to do that a couple of times. Personally, liked people and had to let them go, but I've understood that it's for the greater good of the team. Because if someone starts to behave like a bad apple, or their behaviors are affecting a wider population, this is no good. Well, I think one thing is to embrace conflicting personalities, because when you understand how awesome diversity really is, when you understand that, differences in thought, differences in behavior, differences in action can actually contribute to, broadening whatever it is you're doing. It adds more color, it brings more ideas, you tend to have more innovation. So I think that's the first step, is really understanding that diversity is good. Now, when there's conflict, it's also about understanding maybe how to manage teams, how to put different people who are different but complementary together, and letting these people feed positively off one another. In some cases, you may have to bring someone else into the team who is strong, who is neutral, and who is able to work well with two very, very conflicting personalities, and that person might be the glue that brings the team together. So it's not one strategy fits all, but it's really about understanding people and understanding how you can bring people together in different ways to make it work. Every single day when I go to the office, when I go about my task, I'm thinking about what my mandate is. Why was I put in this position? What was I put there to deliver? And every day I go out there and do a piece of that work which it takes to delivering that end goal. That is what my focus has always been about. So I work hard towards achieving the result, towards achieving the mandate that has been given to me. I take that responsibility really seriously. And I would say that's the single biggest habit I've formed over the years. And you'd be amazed. When you stop focusing on what it is you're setting out to do, when you start thinking about what's the next step in my career, when you're thinking about climbing a ladder, when you're thinking about, all of these things around developing yourself, you actually stop developing yourself. When you put the work that it takes to deliver those results, you're developing yourself in the process. And believe you me, you will get propelled in your career. At least that has been my story. I always love to answer this question because I say that I don't know a single successful person in the world. And when I talk about success, it's relative. Success is different for everyone. For some, it's really about living a joyful life. But whatever it is, it's about growth, I believe. And I say that, no one grows without having to stumble. It's those stumbles, it's those falls that, make you get back up, find different solutions, find a way to strengthen yourself and allow yourself to grow in life. So there is no success without failure. I embrace failures. And in fact, I've had so many in the course of my career. And I honestly believe that's what's propelled me, because each time I found a solution to a challenge, each time I've shown that, yes, this thing has brought us down, but we've not fallen. We continue to rise. That's what's given the confidence to my leaders to continue to lift me up and to push me further in my career. So failure is good. It's a critical part of success. I embrace it every single time. Life gets overwhelming on a frequent basis. I mean, when you think about the fact that every single day you get up, there's a grind. You're working for something. You're working to make money, to look after your family, to, just to get on in life. It's a grind, and it can become overwhelming. What I do is I try to always think about what is most important to me. Are those people I love okay? Are they healthy? Are they happy? If they're not, then there's really a problem. If they are, everything else becomes small in comparison. When you look at some of the challenges you've had related to work in the past and how you've gotten through them, and life goes on, and even sometimes huge challenges. World leaders face crises every single day, but you know what? Life happens and life moves on. When you think about that, then it just makes you put everything into context. So really, I picture my beloved, my most loved ones, and that's what really keeps me grounded and keeps me going. Every time I wondered if I was the right person for that promotion or the right person for that job, I did it anyway, and then I got recognized for being one of the best in the game. So I no longer have that approach, or I no longer have that fear or that imposter syndrome, as it were. At the end of the day, everyone does something for the first time. There's always going to be a first person to do something. Why can't that be you? If someone has seen something in you and has, seen it fit to put you in a certain position, to give you a certain role, to give you a certain job, somebody has seen something in you. So it's about time that you think, well, why not? And give it a shot. What's the worst that could happen? You're not so good at it. Hey, you're not going to be the only one. But what if you're the best person at the job? It's worth giving it a try. That's my approach now. When we talk about consistency, it really is that you can't be consistent in public and inconsistent in private. The two just don't match. So it's really about understanding what your priorities are and understanding what it is or what it's going to take to make those priorities come to pass. So consistency in your personal life, in your private life, in your public life should become one and the same. And that's really, for me, what it boils down to. I'd say at least one of the best career or pieces of career advice I'd received is to be open to everything and anything, whether it's a job position, whether it's moving to a different country, whether it's literally just tackling, a job that I never thought I could do, potentially even changing functions. When I opened myself to this, my world of possibilities opened. What I found was that not only was I challenged taking on new roles, but also in new geographies, and it expanded my horizons, it expanded my network. I've met people from different countries who have added so much richness to my life, and those are some of the things that, you cannot buy. A job in itself is never going to match that. It's the people that you meet along the way and the impact they have on you. Be open. At the end of the day, when we talk about life and what it means, it's really difficult sitting on this side to know. But I think one day all will be revealed to us. I think that we have one chance at living this life here on earth, and we shouldn't give it anything other than our best. And we should do that not just for ourselves, but for others. Everything I do is centered around, being of value to other people and doing that the best way that I possibly can. If I was to live a selfish life, or if anyone really is here to live a selfish life, I think we lose sight of what's important. One day we'll find out. Given that there are so many issues to solve, well, maybe one of the first I would try to solve is for people to think about other people, because, you know, if we all put everyone else's interests above ours, I think the world would be a better place. I think everyone would do whatever it takes to make others happier, others more comfortable, help people in need, because I think this is what it all boils down to. If we were to try and tackle one problem, there'd still be a million other problems. But if we tackle that problem about everyone, you know, wanting to do better, everyone wanting to take care of one another, I think millions of other problems would be solved. One of my favorite, you can call it a quote, you can call it a Bible verse. It goes something like this: which of you by worrying can add a single hour to his life? If then you cannot do this very little thing, why do you worry about the rest? You know, we spend so much of these short lives that we lead here on earth in worry, in anxiety, thinking about what's going to happen tomorrow, thinking about the worst that could possibly happen. And what's happening is that we're literally unhappy. We're burdened. This is not the way to live. And so this scripture reminds me that, you know, there's something way bigger than me. There's nothing I can do. By being miserable, by worrying, it's not going to add a single hour to my life. And that, you know, just reminds me to just slow down, to just think, you know, what's the worst? And to just embrace what's the best right here, right now. One of the first that had a profound impact on me, you can say, is called The Entertainer. That's because this was the very first song I played like in full on the clarinet in the orchestra at school. And it was just such a wonderful thing hearing all the instruments come together. After I'd started learning this instrument, everyone was learning their different instruments, and we came together, and it was just the most beautiful sound I had ever heard. Another song I would say is Lately by Stevie Wonder, because, you know, I was young when I fell in love with Stevie Wonder's music. I realized that, you know, you could speak, tell stories, speak about what was going on in your mind, in your heart, in song, you know, not just kind of random lyrics to random beats, but it goes something like this. Lately I've had the strangest feeling, with no vivid reason here to find. Yet the thought of losing you's been hanging around my mind. Yep, lately. I love Stevie Wonder. I'm also touched deeply by gospel music, and when I was getting married, I insisted on walking down the aisle with In Your Hands, because that song just reassures me that I'm in God's hands. So even as I was walking down the aisle towards a man, I knew that I still had, God at the center of it all. So yes, there's so many songs that have had a profound impact on me one way or another. As with everything in life, I say don't rush the process. Have a vision, have a goal, have an aim, but at the end of the day, let life also lead you. Marriage is something that is so important. I just don't think it's something that people should rush into. I say I was fortunate to get married at the age of 36. By then, I knew myself so deeply. So I wasn't going into something where I was now trying to learn about myself, to find myself. And that level of maturity, and it was the same from my husband. We both came into this thing with mature minds, mature hearts. We developed a friendship. We knew what we were ready to compromise on and what we were not ready to compromise on. And it sets you up for something really strong and special. A lot of marriages fail in the first up to 5 years because people are literally trying to get to know themselves, and then they're put into a situation where they're trying to know someone else as well. And so many challenges come out of that. Just understand that not everyone is perfect. In fact, no one is perfect. You're going to find someone who is imperfect, but if you understand them, if they understand you, and if you have the best interests, or let's say the other's interests at heart. Somebody who's going to support you, your vision, your dreams, who's going to be there alongside you, even if he or she doesn't agree with everything, but they want the best for you. Then you know that you found something good and it's worth fighting for and it's worth developing. So wait, take your time, because the best things do happen given time. The way I recharge is what others might consider stressful. I love to read. I read so much. I mean, I read all sorts. But the thing is, reading for me just opens up my mind. I can read business books. I can read philosophical novels. I can also just read, thrillers and, legal thrillers. And these things, what they do is just, it transports me to another place, for however long it is. If it's 1 hour, 2 hours, I decide to read at night, especially when it's a novel, then I'm just taking away the cares of the day, of the work and everything. And I'm just transported into someone else's world. And this is good. By the way, it also sharpens your analytical ability, reading novels, because you're thinking as someone else would be thinking, and you're trying to think what's going to happen next, what are the different scenarios. So yes, there's an educative element, but really it's for fun. I could pursue anything I want to. I love to learn. For me, growth, personal development and growth, but not just growth of self, but growth of others, is one of my values. And I believe that there is just so much to learn. There's so many things to do in this life that if you have the opportunity, do as many of them as you can. So I'm always focused on, the task at hand, but it doesn't stop me from looking at the beauty around me. Any opportunity I get to pursue another interest or passion, I take. And, how I spend my spare time, I mentor people, I spend time with people. These are all things that I love to do, and I'll do more of with the years. When tackling new challenges, in fact, that's the time when you need to be most creative. You need to think differently. When people put you in a position where, you're responsible for bringing something new, for bringing growth, for bringing change, you need to be doubly creative. So actually, it's a time that allows you to, step outside the norm, bring your own thinking into bear. I tend to spend time with others because I love the fact that ideas just come from everywhere. Sometimes they come from, nature, things that you see around you, but they also come from conversations that you have with other people. Sometimes the conversations are completely unrelated, but you're able to come out with new ideas from it. So for me, creativity is something that is critical in everyday business, and even more critical when you have challenges facing you as a business. One of the best compliments I've received is, they come from my team, and they say, she's serious. She means what she says. She does what she says she will do. So it's not always happy and flowery. They know that I take tough decisions when I need to, but they also know that, I'm fair. And this is good. We're not here to be liked, unfortunately. I don't want to be hated, but sometimes it comes with the role. People are not always going to like you. They say it's lonely at the top. It doesn't need to be, but sometimes it simply is. But if people know that you are as good as your word, for me, this is a good thing. So I would say that this is one of the biggest compliments I receive. I talk a lot about authenticity, about being yourself, because no one wants to follow someone who is not sincere, someone who looks one way today, behaves another way tomorrow, someone who in public appears to be, a wonderful personality, kind, and then behind closed doors is known to be selfish and egotistical. People don't follow fake people. I put it that way plainly. So you need to be yourself. What are your values? You know your values. You should be embodying them. You should be living them every single day, so that this doesn't become a question or a challenge. If you're living your values daily, if you're walking your values, you're just living the life that you've set out for yourself, and it doesn't become difficult, and you become known for being a sincere person, someone that people can trust, because at the end of the day, that's the recipe for good leadership. I think most people will say that, in their lifetime, this is where the most changes, have come. But honestly, I think that we can all see it on a daily basis. Robots are taking over. We talk about artificial intelligence. That's just one element. Things are moving so fast. We're seeing new things on a daily basis. We're learning new things on a daily basis. And what's really amazing is that it's not just, is it Gen Zs and millennials and so on that are taking on some of these new developments in technology, but even, baby boomers and, what we consider today as the elderly population are embracing these changes because they're happening every single day. And if you don't keep up, you will be left behind. So for me, in my industry, I always make sure that I'm up to date with the latest trends. I make sure that I read industry publications. I engage with industry players from, the broad spectrum of the industry. If there are professional courses that are useful, that will actually give you learnings as well as, add letters, then that's wonderful. I'm not one to study just for the sake of studying, but if it's going to help to enrich the work I'm doing, then I'm all for it. So I'm really someone who believes in continuous development. I'm learning every single day. I read. I look at case studies. I work with my team. We try to find challenges that might come in the future and then prepare ourselves ahead of time with solutions. And this is so critical to leadership. The best leaders in the world don't stop reading. Leadership has evolved. Who is a leader today? If you ask people, you're not going to get the same answer from everyone. Before, it might have been people in suits who had been working for decades, who have grey hair. Today, with the rise of new media, social media, you're seeing a lot of young activists coming up, and they're earning the title of leader because they're actually being bold, coming up with solutions, and people are following behind their agenda. And they're creating impact, they're creating change. So leadership in itself is changing. I think what's not going to change is the fact that leadership is just what it is. It's about others. It's about leading other people. It's not about a self agenda. So that's really what's important. Those who are always looking at their own selves, trying to push their own agendas, aren't going to win in the leadership world. It's about people who have the interests of others and bringing others up, and in creating larger impact that will be considered as the new age leader. I'd say that this is a kind of 2-in-1 legacy, because what I do as an individual and what I do as a leader for me are one and the same. I believe that everyone who crosses my path for any significant length of time should be impacted positively. If I meet someone, even just for 2 minutes, I hope I can impact them positively, even if it's with a smile of encouragement. But those who I spend a little bit of time with should feel that they gain something from this relationship because I was able to impact them positively one way or another. It's the same in my daily life, and it's the same in my life of leadership. It's thinking about the self. It's thinking about their progression. It's thinking about, where they want to be. It's ticking the boxes, climbing the steps in the career journey. That's what often makes leaders lose sight of what they set out to do in the first place. And that's when often they fall and they don't have people to support them. I think keeping your eye on the goal of leadership, understanding that once you're privileged to be in a position to lead others, it's, your whole agenda changes. Things will definitely become difficult at some point or another, because businesses just do not run without crumbling at some point or another. But when you have the support of a team behind you, because they know that you have them in your mind, there's nothing better. Silence. It's amazing how much you learn by simply being quiet, really watching and listening to hear. leaders feel, or people who manage people feel, they constantly have to speak. It's not the case. Silence can be powerful. It also makes you not predictable. Leaders should be consistent, yes, but not predictable. So silence